Alright guys, going to switch this one up a little today to discuss our current state of festivities. Speaking of which, happy Halloween everyone! Actually, it's not Halloween anymore, that was yesterday, but it's kind of hard to tell because, yeah, we're still celebrating the Halloween event in GTA this week, which is kind of the point of this video. Now, is it just me or does it seem like the yearly Halloween event has become way too long and drawn out? And hey, I'll be the first to admit that I do enjoy each of the specific Halloween themes and events. They're cool, fun, and enjoyable to play, but are they still cool and fun for a month? Or is it just too much? I'm going to dive into some of the pros and cons from my point of view, but ultimately, this is my question to you. Has Rockstar's yearly Halloween event simply become way too long and drawn out? First, let's get to how long this event actually is. Or rather how long it's going to be, because yeah, we're still in it. For those of you who don't remember, Rockstar officially kicked this event off on October 3rd. At the time of this video, it's now Friday, November 1st, which means we just started the update week, which means the official Halloween event this year will not end until November 6th. That's a total of 35 days or 5 weeks for one GTA holiday event. To put this in perspective, last year's Christmas event was only 23 days, and to be more specific, it was probably only a week. It was the snow that lasted the 23 days, and the 23 days, at least for me, seemed to go by quickly because we were all preoccupied with the new salvage yard business. So yeah, 5 weeks for an event is definitely a long time. Alright, so my pros and cons. And remember, I'm only critiquing the length of this event, not all the cool missions and stories within the event. I think these are fine, at least for the most part. I'll talk more about this a little later when I get to the cons. Okay, so first the pros. Number 1, the build-up. And what I mean by this is that the length of the event is kind of needed in order to play out the whole UFO story. Whether 5 weeks is needed is debatable, but I do like the whole build-up over time with the increase in UFOs. It grows a little interest and suspense, which adds to the whole Halloween experience. Number 2, there's a lot of events. Rockstar always tends to throw a lot of things at us at Halloween, events, stories, missions, etc. So it's nice to actually have some time to A, enjoy them, and B, have the time to actually finish them. Some of these events do take a bit of time. For instance, if you're looking to gather all 200 pumpkins, you're going to need to settle in for a good chunk of the day. And that's it. The fact that I only have 2 pros is probably an indication of how I'm leaning on this topic. And my sentiment here is that 5 weeks of any holiday event is simply way too long. So to begin, as a rebuttal to my first pro I mentioned, although I do think a build-up for the UFOs is needed, I think this can easily be completed in like a couple weeks. In fact, there's a good chunk of the UFO schedule now that's allotted to UFOs that were missed, meaning there's just a bunch of repeat days, and you can only get paid and or credit for one photo only. So again, I think this is just strung out way too long. Another con I have is that there's simply not enough new content that justifies 5 weeks. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the only new content we received this year was the Ludendorff Cemetery and the alien abduction. And to be clear, the actual abduction isn't new. We were able to do this last year. The only new component of this is being taken to Fort Zancudo and acquiring the Tase stick. And I know what you're thinking because I hear it a lot. GTA can't be expected to develop a bunch of new content when they're working on GTA 6. Well, if you're charging $8 a month to play a 10-year-old game, you can sure as hell find a way to incorporate a little more content. And it doesn't even need to be content. Just offer a little more incentive for completing events that we've already completed. For example, the jack-o'-lanterns. Simply offer the chance to receive, I don't know, maybe a little more money than we're getting now. Again, just little things like this to make it all fresh. The second con I have is that for what I think is the most interesting and most enjoyable of the events, this being the random slasher and haunted vehicles, it's rarely seen. Now, I realize these are random, but for me, I just don't see a lot of this. And I'm sure everyone has different experience with getting these to spawn, and I may be the rare case here, but I just haven't seen a lot of these show up for me this year. For instance, I have yet to see my clone or doppelganger spawn, and I have only once seen a haunted vehicle, and that was last year. Again, I think if you're going to run a Halloween event for 5 weeks and bring back most of what we've already seen, the least you can do is allow the players to experience these events more. One of the things I thought they could do for this to help is that for the last week of this event, just ramp up the probability of one of these things spawning. Hell, I'd even go so far as to having these spawn automatically every 2 or 3 minutes. It would definitely make your normal routine a lot more interesting. Okay, one last con I have regarding the overly extended Halloween event is that it gives Rockstar an excuse to limit or halt the double money bonuses that we would normally get. Now, sure, I know they gave us double money in RP on the Acid Lab a couple weeks ago, but in the totality of these past 5 weeks, that was basically it. And I think in Rockstar's mind, they're like, well, hey, we don't need to give you anything because we're in the middle of a holiday event. And sure, it's very convenient for them to limit everything we would normally see because this isn't something we should be focused on. And for the most part, they're right. Except, of course, for all the cons that I just mentioned above. It just seems like this event has gone on way longer than needed, and in the meantime, if you wanted to take a break and maybe take advantage of some other cool double money, it just wasn't there. In the end, I'm not dissing on any of the Halloween events. I don't want to come across as the Halloween Scrooge here, because that's not my intention. There's a lot to take in and have fun with during this time of year. I do enjoy it. But 5 weeks worth? Man, that's a long time. Alright, so that's it, my friends. Thank you for watching. As always, if you like this video and want to help out, please subscribe, give a thumbs up, and let me know what you think. Is 35 days of Halloween too much? Or perhaps you're totally fine with this, and maybe, dare I say, it needs to be longer? If so, drop a comment below and let everyone know. Until next time, be happy, be well, be safe, be my TV, the one Maestro.